Good afternoon. My name is Barb Gassou. I teach first grade at Bellevue Elementary in the Northgate School District. We're just a little bit north of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Our presentation today is from Spark to Chill, and Spark comes from our acronym that our students became. We are the Sparks. Our school district is the Northgate Flames. So the two elementary schools, when we revamped our PBIS, decided to be Sparks because little sparks become big flames. And so that is, we will introduce to you later on in our presentation what the SPARK stands for, but this is a mural that's in our school. We had a graffiti artist come and talk to the kids, and they were helped to inspire it. So this is there for all of the things. And this is our little Spark. He stands in our office. My daughter made him. She's an artist, so she said, why don't I make this for you? So he's our little Spark, and that's what we represent. And so we're going to introduce ourselves then.
Thank you, Barbara. My name is Brian Talbert. I am school counselor at Bellevue Elementary. I have been in the Northgate School District for 21 years, been in the elementary school, which we were going to get into, for 3 years. A major change I went from the high school to the elementary school, so that was a culture shock for me. One thing I want to mention about our title, From Spark to Chill, it's not a linear transition, it's an array of services. So we're not moving from Sparks to Chill, we're moving through this array of services, which we will explain shortly. And Barbara's back.
And I'm back. My name, again, I'm Barb Gassou. I've been in the district since about 2000 with my children. My children went through the district, and then I was happy to get a job there. I teach first grade. I'm part of the PBIS team. And I guess that's all for now.
My name is Maria Hubel. So I am part of the Chill Project by Allegheny Health Network. So not a school district employee, but rather a contracted employee. My title is a behavioral health school educator. We'll get into more of what my job responsibility entails, as well as what the Chill Project is, but I'm the addition to their Sparks and PBIS rewards. So that is where Chill comes in.
All right, real quick, just to give you a sense of who we are. This is just our building. We have 318 students. You can see our ethnic demographics or ethnic breakdown. Something that I did not put in this particular slide or in this presentation is before we went to the system where everybody received a free and reduced lunch, we were at roughly 50-50. We had 50% free reduced lunch, so that'll give you some idea of our socioeconomic background.
So the history of PBIS at Bellevue, we started in 2006, which is what we just learned this morning was the beginning year, and we've had a variety of principals since then. We've seen it change over the years because the first principal came, presented it, and then we had another principal who was like, okay, you go ahead and do it, and I'll just sit back. And then we had COVID. And then we got a new principal, and our current principal is very active and very excited and really has been pushing us to revamp our PBIS program. And we have a brand new team that we've been working with now. We're in our third year, and we began the creation of Spark. Some of the things that we've seen that have been consistent throughout all of the years from the very beginning was that we have full school rewards, we have incentives, and we have meeting times and staff. Things to go along with that. So this is our little Spark, and that's kind of what we came up with. All students exemplify our Spark values. And every day on the announcements, we say the Spark expectations. So if you are a Spark, you are safe, present, accountable, respectful, and kind. You receive Spark tickets, and when you receive your Spark tickets, the teacher is supposed to tell you why. So my thing in the last week was trying to get my first graders to tell me what they wanted for lunch without me asking them. And so I would say, today I'm going to give Spark tickets if you give me your lunch. And so they would give it to me, and I'd say, thank you for being accountable. Thank you for being accountable. Or if I see somebody particularly being kind, I will say, thank you for being kind. The new thing that we've come up with that we thought about was the kids who don't like to be safe or who aren't sitting in their chairs. So if I say to them, you need to be safe, and they give me a hard time, eventually when I see them make that choice, I need to say to them, thank you for making the safe choice. So we're finding new ways that we can present the Spark tickets to the students, but what we want our teachers to do and what we push is that when you give the Spark ticket to the student, you tell them why they're getting it. And it has to be one of those 5 expectations. We have Spark expectations in arrival and dismissal, for the hallway, for the classroom, for the cafeteria, and for recess. And at the beginning of the school year, the teachers take different days to teach the expectations for all of these areas. For our classroom, we have kind of a skeleton, and then we have all of the students help to present. What does that look like in our classroom? For the hallway, cafeteria, arrival and dismissal, and recess, those are all laid out. And there are big posters that are around the school that have these all up. So everywhere the kids go, they can see what the expectations are of that area. And go ahead.
And something to add is that even since we made this presentation a few weeks ago and finalized it, we've even created and have just kind of transitioned into a brand new one, so we're ever evolving. So we now have auditorium expectations, and we utilize student-led groups, which we'll talk more about, to help facilitate what that looks like, as well as things that what Brian just did with some of our students was presenting those expectations of what the auditorium behavior looks like to all of the individual classes, which was very awesome. So even now, since we finished this a few weeks ago, we're continuing to add on expectations in other areas that we think that need either some additional improvement or just furthering reinforcement of what it looks like.
So this is what one of our posters might look like. So this is our arrival and dismissal expectation. And for everyone, you'll see there's something that's safe about it, some way for them to understand being present, being accountable, being respectful, and being kind. And one of the things you'd see, of course, on all of them is there's things that are going to overlap. So in every situation, how do you be kind? How are you respectful? And it's our challenge as classroom teachers to help the students think, what are ways that it looks like? And then what will happen throughout the year is that the principal might say to us, at the cafeteria, we really need to revisit the cafeteria expectations. So he'll ask the teachers to reteach the cafeteria expectations. Or maybe it's the arrival and dismissal expectations. And so those are retaught. So we have lessons that we've typed out and we've given to all of our teachers so that they have an idea what these are supposed to look like and ways that you can present it. We also have classroom tools, and one of them is we created a voice volume chart, and you'll see kids going through the school like this. And sometimes you think, and that's the level 0. So in the hallway, it's level 0. Yeah. And so the kids are learning. Again, this is our 3rd year with this, and the kids are really understanding and beginning to understand when you say, what is the expectation? They've learned that word. We use that word all the time. What is the expectation of your voice volume in the cafeteria? And they'll tell you 1 or 0. So that's been really helpful. We also initiated this year across the school hand signals for in the classroom. We only did 3 because we thought everybody has different ways of doing things, but as you went from grade to grade, some teachers did this for bathroom, some teachers did this for bathroom, some teachers didn't do anything. And so this year we asked them to use these 3 symbols. If a student goes like this, that means they need to go to the bathroom. This means I need a drink, and holding up your pencil means I need a new pencil. So from here on in, through 6th grade, K through 6th grade, the symbols will be the same. If they go to a specials class, if they have a substitute, whatever. And these are posted in all of our classrooms, and that really helps. This is our Spark bin, where we collect all of our tickets each month. And I'm going to throw in that my husband made the bin. He's a graduate of our school district a long time ago, and our daughter, who is also a graduate of our district, did the painting on the front. They told me I had to tell you that. We started this year asking them to put their Spark tickets in the bin every week or every 2 weeks so that we can see it rise. And just yesterday, my friend and I dumped it, and we were all the way at the very top. So the kids are getting the tickets, they are dumping them, and they're seeing it rise. And the goal is that whenever it's full, we get a full school reward.
And we keep this in a central location so that when students are walking through the building, they're seeing their progress. Instead of doing a thermometer or some other type of a measuring tool, we wanted to make sure that they could see it and utilize the skills and talents of Mrs. Gasu's family.
I was going to say too, so they dump them every 2 weeks, but we also ask the classroom teachers to kind of keep track so that you can have classroom rewards. So there are classroom rewards, and then they dump them into the big bin so that there are full school rewards. And at the end of every week, out of your classroom bin, a name is pulled, and students get a reward for that. So there are individual, classroom, and whole school rewards built into our system.
And the one thing I wanted to add was that this is universal throughout all the teachers in the school. So this includes for me, even as someone who's not a school district employee, I still hand them out. Our specials teachers, our principal, Mr. Talbert has the opportunity, and then all classroom teachers and learning support teachers as well. And cafeteria, absolutely. So we have this initiative kind of stretched throughout the entirety of the school. So it's not left undone in any aspect. So it still keeps kids motivated throughout the day. So even as they enter a special or the lunchroom, or if they have something going on in the auditorium, like if we're practicing for an assembly or something like that, we still always have that opportunity for all students to still earn. And I also think it's a great reinforcement, and especially something to go off of Barb, what she said about the student with the leg sitting out, like if they're sitting improperly of their seat, we're not necessarily engaging in the negative behavior and saying, stop doing that, here's your consequence, but rather just rewarding the desired behavior, and you know, giving them that positive, oh my gosh, I'm doing things right, like she gave me a Spark ticket for that, or I was recognized for it. So again, we're still in that initiative where we're not focusing on the negative behaviors, but rather just rewarding and reinforcing all of the positives. So this is a student leadership group that myself and another teacher are actually 2 teachers now. Another one just joined this year. So they're called our Spark ambassadors. And so in this group, we focus a lot on our Spark values, and this can look differently for a lot of students. And for our group in particular, we're focusing on things like expectations and how we can reinforce it. So we had our igniters, because we want to keep with the Spark theme. We had our igniters go into each classroom and give the expectations for our auditorium, since we have a Veterans Day assembly coming up. And then Spark ambassadors are utilized for a lot of different things. So we have them go on field trips with us. So we went to the University of Pittsburgh's nationality rooms, which is awesome. It was in conjunction with our ESL class. So they got a chance to experience all the different nationalities, and more particularly from some of the students at which the places they're from and speak that language. So it was really awesome to have our leaders kind of join forces with a group that doesn't necessarily get a lot more credit than they deserve. And by that I mean that, you know, when you speak another language, sometimes you can feel a little ostracized, and you aren't really making a lot of friends. But fortunately, since we do have the entirety of the ESL students at elementary level at our school, they do have other students that speak their language and have the familiarity and all that. But it's great to have just leadership role students exemplify our Spark values, as well as integrate them with a group that might not get as much attention from the school population, just due to the lack of language barrier, or I'm sorry, the language barriers in general. So some things that we focus on are like tour guides. So they give our new families a tour every time they show up. So we have rolling admissions like many schools, and when we have a new family, we pull one of our Spark ambassadors to give that tour, and they learn the school, and they teach them when they walk past the classroom, like the voice volume chart, they explain that. The expectation posters, they explain all of that. And it gives those students a really good confidence boost. There's a lot of really great benefits from that. So I had mentioned, social and professional development goals. And when they are participating in these groups, we meet, twice a month in the auditorium, and we also like to, give them the chance to be involved in it. So, well, what do you guys want this to look like? And they really wanted to do videos to show everyone at the school. So we did just make an auditorium expectation video, which is something that we were able to show to all of the classrooms. I know that we made ones for the cafeteria, for the bathroom, again, areas that needed a little more reinforcement of what behaviors look like. And
just to kind of piggyback in off of what Maria was saying, our new students, when they come into the district, they receive a packet or folder with all of these expectations in them. So not only are they hearing from other students about the expectations in the building, they're able to read the expectations in the building. as well as see them as they take their tour throughout the building. So we're reinforcing the expectations in several different ways.
You made me lose my train.
I'm sorry. I didn't want you to move on to something new.
I know, but I talk so fast. I get ahead of my brain works faster than my mouth does. That's, I think most of us can experience the same thing. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about, Spark Ambassadors. I don't remember. Oh, I do remember. I'm sorry. It's like an epiphany. So we don't just do like the students who are getting good grades and the students that model the best behavior. We like to hand pick and hand select and ask students that might have some behavioral challenges or might just need that additional support. So maybe they have 12 siblings at home, which is like a family that we currently have at the district. They have 12 siblings, and they're pretty much the caretaker of, now that they're the oldest in 6th grade, they take care of all the little ones to get them to school, to get them there on time. And so they've kind of taken on that large responsibility, and sometimes that responsibility changes into acting out. Because they have so much going on, but they can't necessarily express it. Or maybe they're only 12 years old trying to take on that parent role, and then when they come to school and they're by themselves, that you see that regression of behavior just because they aren't able to be a 12-year-old kid all the time. So we like to seek those students out who want those opportunities to have that responsibility, but it also helps influence their behavior. So like, hey, we're noticing that there's a lot of things going on, and we wanted to give you something to do after school, and so you didn't have to walk your siblings home. Maybe your other sibling got and picked them up, or maybe mom or dad or grown up had picked them up from school that day. So it gives them a chance to have that alone time with themselves, and be a leader in the way that they choose to be, and not necessarily how they have to be. So that was something I really wanted to discuss. So yeah. Another thing that is new, and I'm sure Brian will be able to speak a lot to this as well, is our advanced tier teams. So we created this, 3 years ago now?
Can you hear me? So our advanced tiers team, we started 2 years ago. Something that we'll talk about in a little more detail is the principal and the counselor started at the same time. So we had the opportunity to make changes. So the advanced tiers team was developed, and we get together twice a month and talk about the students' challenging behaviors and what types of services they may need in order to improve their behavior. Our advanced tiers team is our gateway to our SAP team. So the advanced tiers team makes recommendations to the SAP team that I happen to lead for students who may need some additional services, and then I make contact with families and set up services through our SAP liaison.
Whoa. And so this team is comprised of a lot of different aspects. So we have the principal, the guidance counselor, myself, several other teachers. We have learning support teachers as well. So we do have a whole gamut of school representation that's involved in that. And what's really nice is, with some of us who are a part of several teams for the school, like Brian, so he gets all this information and feedback, and then when he goes into the SAP team and maybe I'm not on it, then he can bring this forward, like, hey, we talked about this in advanced tiers, and here's what the interventions we're going to implement, but let's also think about sapping this student. We think the need is a little bit higher that just into advanced tiers can't meet alone. But this is part of our MTSS umbrella, our multi-tiered systems of support. So advanced tiers is just a really awesome benefit to that. And, we collaborate, identify struggling students, and we have referral types for all kinds of reasons, but some might come up as, attendance or write-up referrals, behavioral challenges, trauma, just things that we're seeing or that are given to us like by other teachers or staff members, and sometimes even parents refer like, hey, like this is what's going on, we aren't sure where to go from here. And these are the kind of meetings that we take the time to carefully figure out what we need. So for some students that have behavioral challenges, maybe they need a peer mentor, and then we tie up our Spark ambassadors to be a peer mentor. We also have things like getting chill room breaks, which we'll go into that shortly. But maybe it's taking breaks throughout the day, or maybe it's having a one-on-one meeting every morning with Mr. Talbert, or meeting one-on-one for lunch one day every week. So we have all kinds of different avenues that we can take that doesn't necessarily have to meet that higher threshold of tier 3. But we have that this is I can't talk. It's available to us for when we need it. And if we want to meet it before the criteria hits tier 3, we want to try and get it at tier 1 and 2 if we can. So I discussed a lot of like interventions that can happen. So we'll move into the CHILL project. So me, I am just one aspect of the CHILL project. So this was created by Dr. William Davies. He's the director of the CHILL project. It's in a collaboration with Allegheny Health Network, and each school is comprised of a team. So it's made up of a behavioral health school educator, myself, and a school-based therapist. So it's like in-house therapy. So we try to get students that are during like our focus periods is what we call it, where it's like a free period for them to work on any additional work they're missing, if they need to be pulled out for specialists, things like that. Our school-based therapist tries to pull them during that time so they're not missing instruction for the whole class, but rather just like independent work. So that is, that involves the whole thing. So you have the intake, then you have the reaching out of services to schedule. It involves diagnoses, all the things. And so we meet the student once a week during those times to have a 40-minute therapy session. So he services all K to 6 as well. And then the behavioral health school educator is myself. So I operate what's called the CHILL room. And in the CHILL room, we work on a lot of coping skills and strategies, and we'll kind of discuss what it actually entails as well further along. But I operate my own room, and I also do lessons every month. So I have my own curriculum that I report on. And I also do encounters, so I do a lot of crises, behavioral challenged students, or even just some students through IEPs. I also can help support those. So if they just need like a 5 or 10 minute break, they can come to my room for that. But a little bit more on the history of the CHILL project. We started about 6 years ago, so we're still a little baby program, but have made a lot of progress since starting. So we started in 2 school districts with the goal to spark change and transform lives. That's kind of our motto there. So now we're in 37 schools in 3 counties. So we span up to Erie County, Washington County, and then Allegheny County. And we're continuing to expand as our project gets a lot bigger. So we have over 30,000 student encounters. So that's all the students that come in and out of the CHILL room. We base them off of encounters. And we have over 900, I think when I last was presented, it was like 930 something, but it's over 900 students that are currently enrolled in therapy. So it's really great that we've been able to expand to so many districts, as well as service all of these students and meet their own individual needs while they're still here during the school day. So parents aren't having to pick them up early from school, or they're not having to log on to a telehealth session. They're not having to drive them to an appointment that might be in Beaver County, but they live all the way down in Bellevue, so it's not always easily accessible.
One thing that we know too is that our students who are enrolled, particularly in whether they have a break with Miss Maria or if they go with Mr. Ish, who's our school-based counselor, those kids know when that's going to happen and they look forward to that. And they know that during the day on Wednesday, like they get this and they wait for that to happen. And some of those kids, they're just kind of, they're waiting, and that's how they can get to it. And so having that school-based therapist and having the CHILL room that allows them to have those breaks when they need them for whatever reason that they have, it's an amazing thing. Like she said, it's not outside of school, it's during school. And then there's also opportunities for unscheduled breaks in the CHILL room as needed. So having that opportunity is really great.
All right, and real quick, before Maria continues explaining the CHILL project, this was introduced to the Northgate School District through a relationship with our superintendent, Dr. Johns, and Dr. Davies. I believe they met at a conference.
Probably.
And began to talk about what he's doing. And so she felt, coming out of COVID, that we were going to need something to support our students. And when we start presenting data, you'll see coming out of COVID was not easy. And this was a service that we're very fortunate to have to support those students that were dealing with the stressors of having been locked down for almost 2 years. So I'm I'm gonna let Maria finish.
Yeah, so the way that it worked is that we have a contract for 4 years, and you can decide after the 4th year you would like to renew services or to, go elsewhere. But for these few schools that have reached past that year 4, since they're now in year 5 and 6, all of them have chosen to renew, so there is efficacy to the program, which is awesome. We're entering, this is our 3rd year, so this is my 2nd year with Bellevue, which has been super helpful, having that consistency that they know me as that chill room teacher, as the educator there. I've been there so last year was my 1st year and now my 2nd year. So having that consistency with students has been especially helpful when implementing rules to the room or the way services are going to work throughout. If it means that we're doing one-on-one, like 15-minute check-ins, or by like parent ask, like if they like request it, things like of that nature. So just to kind of give you an idea, this is what my room looks like. I realize that I cannot stand still, so I'm sorry. So on the far left picture, that is what's called the nest. So the school district requested like a structure, and this is what they chose, was the nest. So in here I have stuffed animals, bean bags. Again, it's just a safer space that's not out in the open if students want to go in there and that's all they need is just time alone. That's a wonderful space to choose. If they just kind of want to talk in there, it's really comfortable in there. I've had students fall asleep, so it does mean that kids get really comfortable in there, but it's a favorable space. And then I also have a calming corner, which is the second picture from the left. All teachers and classrooms have a calm corner of some degree. They call them the chill corners. So I wanted to be able to replicate that in my space. So if a student was like, well, I don't know how I'm going to be able to calm myself down in the chill corner, what do you mean? Everything in my room is very intentional. So everything has a purpose, everything has a use, and this is no different. So if I have a student that's really struggling and I say, well, let's try and implement these skills in the chill corner. And they go, how do I do that? All right, well, let's practice in mine and see what that looks like and see how you would feel with it. So I replicated it with things that I noticed that teachers have. So if it's like a feelings chart, like I feel upset, I feel exhausted, I feel tired, I feel angry, I feel excited, and I got too excited in class and I'm not sure how to calm down. We have that. We have strategies that we can use. We have tangibles such as fidgets, sand timers, things of that nature. I have books over there, coloring pages. So anything that I've noticed that's in our teachers' chill corners is what I've implemented in mine, just to give it some efficacy as well. The middle picture, this is like kind of where everyone chills out. This is really a chill zone. So we have our fireplace and couches and chairs and tables. And then my TV is where I project my lessons on every month. You can also see that I have the Spark Ambassadors name tags in my room, so they also have kind of that reward that they get to come in there and feel really proud that they have all of their stuff in one centralized place. And again, my space isn't where I have general instruction going on all day like the teachers do, so it's also really nice that they can kind of come and go as they need their name tags for tours, or if they're holding the door open for an event, things of that nature. Peer mentoring, even if they wanted to wear it, they can. And then over here is like an art space. So again, everything's covered. That might be a coping strategy that students like to use. I really wanted to implement that in my room. So we have a craft space, and I always like to have different things that I can explain to students. So, the power of yet, which is a growth versus fixed mindset, things I'm sure you're really used to understanding and learning and teaching. And then last is over here, it's a little hard to see, but I have a swing, I have plants. So like implementing having them, they want to take care of the plants. And so we teach them. So whenever the plants first came, they were little babies. And now they're very, very big. I actually had to transfer all the pots over the summer because they got so big. But students liked that responsibility of taking care of it. And we use that as a social emotional lesson as well. So this is what the chill room looks like. And then just a little bit of data for you, just to give you that research. So our first year with the Chill Project was in 2021, which was right after COVID. So it's our first year back. Was it hybrid or was it full?
It was our first year back. It was full.
Full. Okay, so everyone was there. So we have our data that goes in based off of a thermometer rating. So it's just a scale of 1 to 5, but for the little ones, we just use the colors. So blue is I'm calm, I'm chill. Green is I'm good, not really stressed, I'm okay. Yellow is I'm getting stressed. Orange is I'm stressed out. Like I definitely am not doing great. And then red is really stressed. Some students equate it to emotions, and that's fine too. We kind of work to see where that falls on the scale. I have a student that comes in, they're like, I feel really bored. I'm like, okay, well, where do you think that falls? Well, I'm like, I'm calm, but like, I don't know, I'm fine. So we equated it to a green. So you really like to work and collaborate with the students. So I based off of September because it's our first full month of school. And then I only had access to April. I didn't have what May looked like, but I'll show you May for my 2 years. For last year. But so our average thermometer rating M is a 4, or an orange. So kids were coming in pretty hot, and especially just learning the space. It was our first year. We saw a lot of behaviors in addition to the fact that it was right out of COVID. So behaviors were just up through the roof anyway. But their average thermometer out was a 1.85, which is a blue. So that's exactly what you want. You want to have them leaving the space a lot different than how they came in. It's not desirable that it's different. That sometimes I have kids walk in at a 5 and they walk out at a 5, and it's just because they're just not quite ready to process through everything. But for the most part, you do have the students that come in hot and then leave cool. And then for April, this was the last full month that I was able to find that was recorded. So kids were coming in at a 3.38, which is a yellow, and they were also leaving at 1.49, which is a blue. So again, coming in a lot different than how they left. So this was the second year with Chill. This is when I started. And then I also included our first full month of September for this year. And I included a little extra data for this. So our first year with me in September, we had our average thermometer rating was a 2.8. Now it's important to recognize that it was my first year, so they were adapting to a completely different person. So even though I still had several students coming in and out, they were still getting used to who I was, and I was running the room a lot differently than the previous educator. I will say that the data, it's not necessarily skewed, but it's just because kids really had no idea what I was doing. They didn't understand how I was running the room. They had to experience it themselves. But either way, our average out was a blue. So again, we're still implementing that our coping skills when they come in. Like they come in hot, we implement a coping skill, and they leave a lot cooler than that. I wanted to include teacher encounters because I don't just service all of the kids. I service all of the kids and the staff in the building. So that includes the principal. It includes admin, or other admin. It includes all of the teachers and support teachers, even the paraprofessionals and substitutes that come into our district. So I service everybody. So with my first full month, I had about 13 teacher encounters, which was really great for me. I was like, heck yeah, people can actually like come down if they feel comfortable. But little did I realize just the effect that I was going to be able to have on the teachers. So let's go to May, our last full month of school before summer vacation. Woo! We were still coming in at about a 2.3, which is a green, and then coming out at a 1.46. Again, what you want to see is at least that difference between the two. But my average teacher encounters for that month was 35. So a very different scale. And that was so awesome to me to see that teachers were using me not only just every once in a while, but regularly. I was having certain teachers coming down every day. I was having teachers ask me about what they could implement for a student. And sometimes it's just like, hey, my sister's not doing too well. I just need to talk about it. So it doesn't just span to and limit to just what's going on in the school. It expands to everybody and to everything that involves your life. So my third year, or our third year with the Chill Project, but my second year, this was our past September. So our average in was 3. And then our average out was 1.91, but my teacher encounters jumped significantly. So I had 43 teacher encounters for the month. So that was over 1 a day, which was incredible to see that I was making an impact. And this isn't just for my school district. This trend is expanding to all of the school districts that we're involved in. And I think that's what's important to mention, that, you know, even though this is what our data looks like, and it's awesome, it's not just us, it's every other school district that utilizes us.
So I want to add, as a teacher, there have been times when you have a student in your class and you've tried everything that you know in your bag of tricks and you just don't know what to do. It's really nice to be able to go to somebody who's not your administrator necessarily, but somebody who has a different bag of tricks, and to talk to them. Or you have 2 students who are really fighting and there's not a thing, like they're mad. I remember one day last year and I came down and I go, I just need you to talk to these 2 because I can't get anywhere with them. And she knew the right skills and the right way. So they walked into the chill room, and the kids, these girls, so these are first graders, but immediately when the kids walk into the chill room, it just makes a difference, even if they're really mad. And then she talks to them, and that's a different voice and a different perspective than their teacher, who I don't usually have a problem with, but every once in a while, your teachers that you're at the end of your rope, and there's nothing you can say or do that's going to change the situation. And they walked out, and what was interesting in that situation, a deeper something was revealed in one of those students that then Maria was able to begin to look at in a different way. So having this chill room, having this person who's all about behavioral things is such a gift.
You're so nice. And then some anecdotal data that I wanted to give to you was we've seen a really large decrease in kids going to the counselor. So it's nice that Brian has some free time. He can actually perform a lot of the job duties that is on his, on his sheet. That's what he has to do. And when you have students coming in and out of the guidance office, it's really hard to juggle and manage that in addition to all the other tasks, because you have when you were in high school, I get a SAT prep, you have PSSA prep, you have all these other administrative tasks that you need to perform that you can't when you're eaten up by all these students that are coming down. And then I also learned just actually last week that our nurse referrals have gone way down because students aren't going, my stomach really hurts, I just really need to go home. And it's actually, why don't you try and go to the chill room and see what it is? Their stomach didn't hurt. Maybe they missed their mom, or maybe it was that, they were really stressed out because they weren't understanding a math concept, but the only way that they could get that out was by saying, my stomach really hurts and I can't be here for it. That's all I know. So we've been able to diminish those referrals as well. So on to the topic of what mindfulness looks like. So we implement a mindfulness model, but it's all empirically based. So all of it is empirical research based, something we talked about with our keynote speaker today. So what does it mean in the context of the Chill Project? Because it's not like that Zen yoga instructor that everybody thinks of and imagines. I don't sit there in a circle and make them meditate and do all these things. It doesn't look like that. So it's based on the idea of CBT and DBT skills, so cognitive behavioral therapy and dialectical behavioral therapy, So all of it is empirically based. This is to reinforce our coping strategies, emotion identification, and also giving language to it. So I have a kindergartner coming in, and they might say, I'm so angry, I could burst. And it's actually, you just feel really frustrated that your friend didn't play with you at the playground. And maybe you feel frustrated because you felt your teacher didn't listen to you the way you wanted them to. So it's giving them that language. So it's instead of, I see you feel mad, it might just be, I see you feel really frustrated about this, but we can work on this. We can get there together. We can calm down together. I provide skills to them to self-regulate. And believe it or not, I like to do it in about 15 minutes or less because I don't like to have them miss too much instruction. And fortunately, it's really worked out that now I have students, now that it's my second year, students come in really hot, they come in at a red, but then they leave at a blue and they did all of it themselves. I'll be like, hey, what's your rating today? I'm a red. I'm like, well, do you want to talk about it? No, I know what I need to do. And that's been really helpful in teaching the students that they can do it themselves. They don't even just need me and rely on me. Like last year, they felt like they needed to rely on me to help them get through things. And all of a sudden, I'm at 20 minutes and some kids are in there for 30 minutes. I'm like, no. You can do this yourself. We can talk about what made you upset because sometimes you just need a voice to hear you. But other times it's just you feel really angry about something and you just need to find the right skills to get that out. And I have kids come in, they scream in a pillow for 5 seconds. They're like, all right, I'm good, thanks. And then they leave. But for other kids, it might be, can I play with Play-Doh? Can I have a fidget? Or can I draw and color? And just giving them up to 15 minutes. But even some students, they come in, I just need a break. I'm like, all right, 5-minute timer, it's on, you're out. So we've seen a really big increase in students getting back to the classroom a lot faster, which is awesome. And the last thing to talk about with mindfulness is just staying in the present moment. That's the whole part of mindfulness. That's the basis of what the actual definition stands for. Is we want them to maintain in the present. We're not fortune tellers. I can't tell you what's going to happen in 30 minutes when we're all somewhere else, right? But I can pay attention to what's going on right now and what I can control. And that's a really big thing. It's hard to teach a 6-year-old what they can control, but they're learning a lot quicker than I thought they would. We give our little ones, we need to give them a lot more credit than they deserve, that they can do it all themselves and they just needed the right tools to have that, to do it. Oh wait, this is me. I'm sorry. Yeah, but you can speak to this, but also.
So let me just start off by saying if you take a look, this is, we called it a paint party. When the principal and I started at the school, one of the things he noticed was that the building looked like the inside of a submarine, and he was like, I don't like this drab gray. So we started having I don't know how he got the paint, but he was able to get it, and we had paint parties. Mrs. Gasu and I, along with parents from the community, these are some of our PTO parents, and believe it or not, students from kindergarten through 6th grade came together and painted the walls in the building and transformed the building. We went from a drab submarine to a very bright, inviting building. So the start of our community opportunities, they started here with this opportunity. Okay.
So with the addition of the Chill Project, because it still falls within my realm, is that we've had a lot of community opportunities that have come about because of the partnership. So we had a greenhouse, but we've also helped create a ton of other groups. We brought in like Remake Learning. They came in and they gave us a grant to then create a greenhouse. And over this summer, me and a few of my colleagues from the Chill Project actually ran groups. So we had a student-led group. We met, I think, once a week for about a month and a half or so. And it was a really awesome experience. They learned of how to take care of plants. Again, something that I implemented in my classroom. And this is just to kind of have the whole skill throughout one portion of the summer. The focus was just geared towards emotional wellness and creating non-traditional tracks for students to receive support. So it might not be that they need the SAP team. Maybe they just needed something like this to help get them going. And they really wanted us to be a part of that. So they ultimately created it, but then became a partnership between both of us. And then Chill Mobile is a partnership with AHN. It's with Pirate Charities, and we have a short video to show you about that in a minute. But they helped us implement the Chill Corners that all of the school classrooms have. So this is just some pictures of some of our students. So this is what our greenhouse looks like over the summer. We had a whole bunch of beds. This is at the high school. We have beds made out right near our football field, and the students learned how to properly take care of a plant, how to plant it, how to take care of it. And then, believe it or not, by the end of the 4.5, 5 weeks, they were actually able to take a lot of the vegetables that we grew and herbs that we grew home, which was even cooler. So they got that reward of look at what we did. Some more pictures is just, of them planting and them learning the process of taking care of everything. So we have our Pirate partnership with AHN. So I'll play this video, hopefully. I'm going to skip the verification. It'll all be fine. Hang on.
We incorporated this video into the presentation just because we live in Pittsburgh, we are Pittsburgh, and
Let's see if it'll pop up.
Alongside of this project was truly a godsend for us. The kids, when they went to the assemblies, very excited about seeing, we had the pirate parrot there, but they were excited about seeing the parrot, excited about seeing one of the pitchers come in, as well as they recognized the announcer as one of the local television talents, and kids really.
I don't know if it's going to give the sound because of the way that I'm presenting, but we'll find out. No, probably not. But this is actually at our school. Oh, they don't see it at all? Oh my goodness, I don't know how to present it.
Right,
okay,
so
either way.
We're going to skip over that. That's okay.
That is okay.
Because it's not worth it.
Yeah, I know. We're good. We're doing great. All right. So basically the premise of the Pirate partnership with AHN was actually to work with student athletes was the initial start to it, and to teach mindfulness skills. And it was really directed by sports psychology and the idea of performance anxiety and coping with injuries and coping with maybe not getting to be in the starting lineup and things like that. So we had our all-star pitcher from the Pittsburgh Pirates come down and talk to the students. And in the Chill RV, which you can kind of see in the background, we have interactive models. So when you step in, it's like a whole bunch of projectors. It's very, very cool. You could search it up on the Pirate website and it's there. But they teach mindfulness skills like We did the ones with the littles where it was tree breathing, so they, went like this and they were trees, and then all of a sudden, whenever they took their deep breath out, like they were trying to have the leaves fall. So it's a very interactive thing. It's very cool. You should definitely look it up. And then the last portion for me is like the chill corner. So what is it and what is it used for? So, actually, Barb, I think you can talk to this probably better than I can as someone who implements it.
So last year we were gifted for each of our classrooms a rectangle ottoman type thing, bench that was like a trunk that was empty. And inside of it was a rug and a pillow, a box full of fidget toys, some lights, a oil timer kind of thing, various pictures and things that the kids could use. And so we were asked to set up a place in our classroom that could be the chill corner. And the idea of having the chill corner is that sometimes the students don't need to go to the chill room. And so instead they could go to the chill corner, they could relax, they could have 2 to 3, maybe 5 minutes in the chill corner and be able to bring themselves back to class. And then they haven't left the class at all. And so in some of the ones, the one on the right there is a 5th grade classroom, and she's been able to actually make a really kind of private corner where a student is still in the classroom, still listening to instruction, but away. The other one on the left is a kindergarten classroom. It's more out in the open, but the student has this space. In my classroom, mine's kind of out in the open, but it's in the back of the room. So if a student has to go there, they know they can go. Nobody's looking at them. I had a student who I had to coerce to go to it one day. She was really angry at me, and she just was, ugh. And I'm like, go to the chill corner. And I just kept saying, so finally she crawled over and she got in there, and she didn't like it that she wasn't ready to come back. So they know they can flip the timer. But when she was finally calmed down, she never left my classroom. So the timing even to go to the chill room, be in the chill room and back was lost. And we think that part of the reason that the numbers in the chill room visits are down is because of the implementation of these chill corners. And so if we hadn't been gifted these, it's just a little tiny rug, there's a little thing that they can sit on, teachers have added things here and there, it just gives them a space that they can breathe. And last year I had a student say to me, I just need to go to the chill corner. Okay, go to the chill corner, set the timer. And there's a variety of things that they do learn when they're in with Miss Maria, of the things that are the things that they can use. Sometimes it's a fidget. Sometimes they just want to see the oil drop down. But those things help them.
Okay, so are we chasing shiny things, or do we have evidence to show that what we're doing now is working? And so that's why we brought in data. And I really appreciated the keynote this morning. Kind of validated this portion of our presentation, because as you can see here, this is our Swiss data from 2016 through 2022. There's that odd year there. We were, for a period of time, we were a hybrid, but for the most part that year, the kids were at home completely online. So those were 4 really bad kindergartners.
That didn't know how to work their tablet.
They were, it was not a good time. But you can see when we came back, and this was our concern, when they came back from hybrid/lockdown, our referrals shot through the roof. And this was the principal's first year in the building, my first year in the building, and our first year of the Chill Project. So we were all we weren't winging it, but we were all kind of new to everything that was going on, and we were in survival mode. It was, for me specifically, because I'd been working with high schoolers for 21 years. So what we saw in the second year of the principal, the counselor, and the Chill Project, and the introduction of Maria to the Chill Project, was a decline in referrals. This is what really got us excited. September 2022, September 2023. We have a significant decrease in the number of referrals in comparison to those 2 months. 2022 was Maria's first year. I will say this, and she hasn't. Maria was my intern in 2021. So she couldn't leave us. She stayed with us. So when she had the opportunity to take on this position, it was exciting for us because she knew the building. She already knew our system. But as you can see here, just the implementation of all of the supports that we have in place, we have seen a significant decrease in the number of classroom referrals or number of office referrals by classroom teachers. These, again, here's those kindergartners. Where are the other two? Oh, well.
They didn't fall within that major.
Yeah, they didn't fall in there. All right, but again, the spike implementation, we see some change. We're excited. We're thinking that we believe that this is working. I know that Dr. Davies and our superintendent really believe that it's working. Our 4 years is up next year, and I do believe that our plan is to continue with this program. So that said, let me talk about some of the challenges specifically to our PBIS program. And I'm sure just looking at these, you'll say, yes, we had those same things. Finding time to meet. We can't always get together. Teachers, and I don't like coming in early. Staying after, especially for younger teachers who have kids at home, they can't do that. So finding time to meet was one of our biggest problems. We are a K-6 building, so older student buy-in was difficult. Sixth graders, nothing motivates them. They're entering into puberty and they're just mean. They are. And then just last year, one of our biggest challenges is we lost 5 teachers. Now, we are a pre-K to 6 building. We have 18 teachers. We lost 5. So we had to replace them. And so the good thing is new teachers don't know. So we were able to get them on board with the program. But it's still, we're still training them up and getting them into the program or buy into the program.
There also came a lot of challenges for not only to have like the new staff members coming in to have them contribute to the rest of what we have going on here, but it was also hard to get the students to buy in. They were like, well, you're not the last chill room teacher. That's not what I remember. Like the way that things are structured are different when you have all these new faculty members. And when you have a brand new principal that comes in right after COVID, like it's a very different thing. And so students had to get used to all of us as well. And it was a really big change for them.
All right. Challenges moving to benefits. Having the Chill Project helps us to implement our PBIS program with fidelity. We have an additional, the addition of the Chill team or Chill room educator onto some of our teams helps with providing the necessary services that our students need. Chill corners in the classrooms, as Mrs. Gassou has already said, have come in handy and have worked and are keeping kids from leaving the classroom to run to the nurse or to run to the chill room or to run to the guidance office. My first year there, I must have seen the entire 6th grade on a weekly basis.
Now I see them.
No, but it's a different group of 6th graders that are not as mean.
So where it says chill corners in the chill room, it's used as positive reinforcements. I, under no circumstance, have my room used for any part of disciplinary action whatsoever. So my room is not you go there because you're bad or you go there because it's really focusing and starting to have that holistic approach to focus on the whole student. We need to start with their behavioral and emotional needs as well. So I get them when they're at that point, and they come in with the impression that they're not a bad kid, they didn't do anything bad, that even if they did behave in a way that was not desirable and it did hurt a lot of people, they don't see it as like they're a bad kid for coming to my space. They see it as I'm here to help them. So I also am used for rewards and positive reinforcements for students as well. So I just wanted to say that I have no handle in disciplinary action. We make it a point in order to help with our goal as AHN and the Chill Project to not be a part of that whatsoever. That's left to admin, as it should.
All right, that was a lot. Questions? Yeah, that hand shot up too. Oh, go for it. Go.
So we do like a mentoring program. Like we're struggling collecting data on how on our rating scale right now. You brought up the thermometer rating scale, and I'm wondering how we could use that into our program. So how do you use the thermometer? Like I know it's based on colors, so you rate the colors on like a number scale that then you use to calculate like the
Yes. So
what is it?
Repeat the question.
no. So they asked like, how do we measure with the thermometer data, and in what way can they utilize their data to reflect what we do is. So all the students actually understand and know, even the kindergartners. So we utilize the colors to help them understand, like blue is I'm calm, and then up to red is I'm chill. So that's their rating scale, but each of them like equates to a number 1 through 5. So I'm calm, I'm chill, I'm blue is a 1, and I'm really stressed out is a red, which is 5. So we have a 1 to 5 rating scale. You're welcome.
Who is kind enough to gift you these chill corners?
So that was through a grant, I think with Pirates Charities, with AHN's The Chill Mobile. So that came through the Pirate Charities.
The chill room, it sounds like it's a tier 1 intervention that's available to all students.
Correct, yep.
School-wide. Students can self-refer themselves, like request to go, or teachers can send them?
Yep.
Correct?
Yes.
And then do you also then, are you responsible for tier 2 group interventions? Like
Yeah,
you-
I
that's
do.
part of your-
Absolutely. Yeah, so I can do lunch groups, I do peer mediations, anything that can really better help the service the student and meet their needs that the school can, if it's feasible, I can do it.
Okay.
That's a question for Dr. Davies.
So for the groups that you run, are you doing that with parental permission?
Yes, we send a permission slip home, and we actually do it in conjoin with me and Mr. Talbert, the guidance counselor. So if we have a referral by like teacher-based or even by parent-based, we'll send them the permission slip home, so it covers both him and I, and we collaborate and do groups together.
We also have a mindfulness room, and I'm pulling small groups, and I've thought a lot about having this chill zone as part of that.
Sure.
How do you manage if you're teaching a group, or if you have multiple people self-referring and coming in? How do you manage that?
So the question was, how do I manage like having an access? So for me, when I do groups, it's typically during lunch, and I like to close my room just so I can dedicate my sole time to it. However, Barbara can speak to the idea of how she manages teaching a classroom also while having students that are referring themselves to the chill corner.
Usually if a student says, I want to go to the chill room, my question is, tell me why. So you just stop, and they have to have, for me, a legitimate reason why they have to go. And so it's whether or not they have to go to the chill room or they can go to the chill corner, because now that we have that, that's very often, for Milo people, that's all they need to do. So it's just kind of like, you hope that they're okay over there, and sometimes you're doing this and you're keeping an eye on that, So, but it just depends on what they need.
So that is all the time we have, but if you want, while we're in the transition between the next sessions, we'll just be out in the hallway and help you guys, or we'll be up here as we wrap up. Thank you.